We're live. Sonny.
Good afternoon, Nate. Just two of us for now, but more coming.
Yeah, some more people coming. Good morning, hello, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, or whatever they say.
It's
It's been a
20
week.
past 5 here.
It's been a week. Everyone's been busy. There's been a lot going on. Brett's traveling all over the place. I've been sick with the cocoa, so I'm finally pulling out. Actually, I don't feel very good today, and it's like day 9 or something. So I don't know what's going on, but hey, is what it is, right? At least I was vaccinated and it didn't hit me that hard.
Probably the lack of fresh air and getting out has probably made you a bit lethargic as well. 9 days.
Yeah, it's not very fun. The worst part is, dude, my kids, they can't go to school,
Mm-hmm.
and then so I'm at the house with my kids. They tested negative though. Same thing with my wife. She didn't test positive either. Crazy, right? I mean, we were sleeping in the same bed for days before realizing like, oh, I probably have COVID. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know how that happens, right? You're breathing the same air all night. Speaking of COVID, we had Michael Andrew on at the start of the week, which was obviously I don't know, controversial, polarizing. People were just upset. Some not everybody. I mean, there was a lot of good, there's a lot of positive. I mean, a lot of positive comments. I think there were over 200 people watching it live. And then I think there's almost 100 comments on it after the fact. There were comments going back and forth nonstop throughout the live. So yeah, I mean, when you talk about vaccinations and not getting them and masks and everything, people come out of the woodwork to yell and scream. So you guys don't you guys I mean, you don't have to get it over there, do you?
To be honest, I was like going to go completely nothing to do with what was said and just thought like it was a really good show. Brett was live in the comments. Bruno was live in the comments. Everyone was getting involved. It probably attracted attention because of the controversial nature, but I think it was a really cool little event. To have 200 people listening to a podcast, pretty great.
Your Wi-Fi is not that good today, Sonny. Uh-oh, technical difficulties.
Mate, I'm gonna go off the phone. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no, I thought the podcast was great. We had Michael on the year before, and he was obviously very open and honest. He's one of the most honest guys you can meet. I think everything that comes out of his mouth is sincere and genuine. He seems like the nicest guy, and he's obviously been dumped on from the get-go. That's another reason why it was so polarizing and so many people tuned in was because he's been like this since he was 14 years old. He's never going to change. And yeah, it just is what it is. But I think he's obviously matured in immense amounts from the beginning. We got to talk about his breaststroke kick, his wide kick. If you missed that part, it's very interesting. We talked a lot about being a tall breaststroker versus being a short breaststroker and that sort of thing. What was your favorite part?
I don't know. I just thought it was quite cool listening to how he's changing things going forward. I think people give him a little stick because of his unorthodox training methods, and he's clearly open to learning. He's clearly open to changing his mind on things, and it's quite exciting. Like when you look at Russell's sort of mold or model of USRPT at the simplest form, he is so far astray from that now, and he's still getting better. And he's continuously getting better. And when you get better from times like 58-1 long course breaststroke and 155 200 IM long course, you get ridiculous times. And he's not taken all the comments about the 200 IM lightly. All the people, quite honestly, digging him a little bit, taking the piss a little bit, making fun. And like, I'd love to see him prove everyone wrong and go 153, and finish like Michael Phelps said he's capable of. And like his work effort is ridiculous, and I don't doubt he's doing some ridiculous stuff in training now to try and be fitter and better and faster.
Yeah, it is interesting. even back in the day, I think he tried to stick to the original USRPT, and that meant also like no lifting weights. I don't know if maybe even no dry lands. Like it was supposed to be sports all the time. And I just think we've had so many people on here that have said like, oh, the reason I improved so much is because I got into the weight room and I really took it seriously and I got stronger. Not necessarily gaining weight and getting bigger. We had Nick Santos kind of touch on this a week ago about how like he can't swim at 191 pounds or whatever. He has to be swimming at 186 pounds. It just doesn't work for him. And that's where you are, like that sort of level. Yeah, I think he took everything super serious. He's switched it up. Even at the beginning of the podcast, it was funny because Brett kind of just glazed over the whole thing, but he had just returned back doing 3100s long course freestyle by himself on 130, like the famous Kieran Perkins, set that people
best average,
a week.
Yeah.
And
I've done it. A lot of people have done it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty very common set, but to hear him saying that, and then Brett didn't say anything, I was like, he just did a set that he would never ever have done ever. That was probably the first time he ever did 3100s. So yeah, I thought it was a very one of the most open and honest conversations we've ever had on the podcast, and I hope you learned something from it, guys. On the swimming side of things. All right, moving on. We have a special guest coming in. Coach David Marsh, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
How are you?
Are you in California?
San Diego, yeah.
Okay, good, beautiful. Well, we're about to get
to you. It is beautiful out there, yeah.
We're about to get to you right here at the Cal Golden Bears here.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we could skip over Australia real quick. And you want to just jump right into it?
It sounds great. And you were just talking about Michael's training in Coronado now, where we've been training the last couple of years. So it's a lot better situation in Coronado versus a lot of places in San Diego. We got to kind of run around and find pool space. Coronado seems to have a rhythm to long course water and a little bit more sort of care and attention for high performance swimming. So good for him. And my daughter's best friends with Michaela, so it's been fun sort of hearing how he's evolving, and he and Peter and his family. So it's I'm big fans of theirs, and hope that this next step ignites him to the next level.
Yeah, for sure. So you guys have the other Navy base. You guys have the Navy SEAL base out there, correct?
Right.
Because in Virginia Beach, that we got the same thing. Right down the road. So
I think usually the SEAL teams will probably argue which is the better coast. So, but actually the CEO, the fellow that runs the Coronado Swim Team Elite Group, the club team out here that did really well at Junior Nationals, he's a Navy SEAL. He's actually deployed right now, but his name is Pete McVeigh. Pete McVeigh. He swam at the Tennessee, but he actually runs the club almost remotely from where he's deployed, apparently 11 hours away, which I don't think we're allowed to say where he's deployed.
Right.
So.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Nope. Always, we keep it pretty secret around here. I just get a chance there's a SEAL SWIC team, where they invite, basically, if you're in the Navy anywhere, in America, you can come to Virginia Beach. And you can come to this special program where you basically just swim. You come to swim practice every day, 2 hours a day, and you focus on going to buds or trying to get to buds.
Yeah.
Swimming obviously is the thing that it gets a lot of them, man. It's not
keeps a lot of them out. Yeah.
Takes a lot of them out. Even really good swimmers, it takes them out. So I get to volunteer a bunch over there and spend some time with those guys and learn my combat side stroke. So
there you go. Yeah. Efficient, isn't it?
It is a funny thing. And once you've started to see like 100 people do it, it's even funnier. I had this one guy last week. He did a perfect breaststroke kick like you would normally swim breaststroke, but in the middle of the side stroke, which apparently is totally fine. They don't care if you do the scissor kick or not. So he has this weird, perfect breaststroke kick on his combat side stroke, and he killed everybody. So, I think it's you can always get better with a little technique change here and there. You never know what's going to show up in the pool. So,
Well, I think for those guys too, it's just being comfortable in the water, and I think historically it's about sneaking up on the shores and those kind of things without making splash motions. But yeah, certainly the water temperature, at least out here, and the swimming ability and holding breath and being comfortable underwater if you get spun around, is part of the Navy SEAL experience.
that's right. So tell us what's going on. You're coming back to college swimming. That's the headline. That's what we've been told.
Well, Dave asked me to come back, and Chase is going to take some time off for maternity purposes. His wife's having a baby, and they're very excited about that. And he called me, and sort of we ran by some thoughts of what's going on with me right now, and timing is probably perfect. The chance to go up for a couple of months and help out Dave and help out the team with sharpening up for conference and NCAAs is something that I've always loved about college swimming. Probably my favorite time of the year is the sort of end of the season, all the details and getting people ready mentally and physically, and in a team climate. Also, honestly, my observation of Dave's program from the time he left Maryland and started there, and I was very in touch with him the whole time, was that he has sort of evolved what I consider what I see as the best culture there is out there for certainly a men's team, and I think that's happened over years and years, and the fact that he's been able to sustain it and continue to excel at this point, I think I'm going to learn a lot about sort of I guess current times in the sport, and so I'll certainly give a lot, but I'm sure that I'll learn a lot as well.
Well, you got some amazing athletes there to learn from as well. Bryce Mefford's coming back for his 5th year, so you get another Olympic guy who can be on. What relay do you need him on? What relay do you want him on? Because he could swim a couple for you.
Yeah, and well, I haven't paid any attention to college swimming, honestly, and I don't even know him very well. I just he was a competitor at trials as far as I knew in terms of that. So that's interesting. I haven't paid attention to recruiting 1 minute and for a long time. So I went through the roster the last few days, and I don't know almost all these kids. But what's really cool is to see, because now I'm reading about their progressions and things like that, is wow, are kids improving at Berkeley? I mean, he has a lot of kids when you look at their high school times as compared to when they go through the years, not just the highest, biggest names, and certainly Medford would be one of those that dropped a ton of time to make the Olympic team, but that's an indication to me of the kind of culture he has, where it's one thing if your top stars, sort of are there and performing at the highest level, but when you have the whole team, I mean, the kids you would consider, quote, the slowest kids on the team, they're still dropping tons of time during their experience in their time at Berkeley. That says a lot about the job that Dave and Chase and Matt and the culture they have there of expectation of excellence. So I think it's an environment that I'm sort of eager to get into, and also have the crossover with the ISL, because with Ryan Murphy and Shields and Abby and that crew up there, the LA Current crew is sort of based. It has been a Cal centric team, and so I'll be able to sort of work with. I was talking to Murphy on text today, and I was telling him that, look, during the ISL, I really don't mess with things that he's doing, his stroke or make any changes from what I see. But now that I'll be standing on the deck with Dave, I'll work with Murphy and offer some advice that maybe I haven't given when I've had him, with the ISL, because Dave wasn't around. I certainly don't want to screw up a good thing. So anything I'd recommend, I'd go through Dave on, but I'll be on the deck with him. So I'm looking forward to, helping out with those guys as well. And Kathleen will come up and train. She's was NCAA Swimmer of the Year for Berkeley, so she'll come up and train up there while I'm there. So we'll have it'll be quite a Cal reunion. My wife Kristen swam at Berkeley in the '80s, and so for her sort of best friend. She's on a group chat with a bunch of her Berkeley former teammates, and they're all very excited. Of course, they want her to go live in the Pink Palace where she lived when she was in college, but she's looking forward to catching up with a lot of her friends when we're up there. And it's going to be about, I guess about 2 months is sort of the plan right now, and really get, hopefully get focused on conference and NCAAs, and we'll make it a good experience, hopefully for everybody.
That's cool. It's certainly shaping up to be the fastest NCAA championships, I mean, probably ever, just from the sheer nature of everything that's happened, right? All the
Right.
fifth years, all the people that are coming back, all the kids, all the foreign kids that showed up this year. Matt Sates is supposed to land in a day or two, a month out from SEC. So, yeah, we've been talking about it a lot on the pod about how exciting it is. Where I think we're going to see records and relay records, and you're going to see top 8, top 16 times that we've never seen before to get in there, and we'll see how it all shakes out. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I think it's several years of improvement because part of looking at the rosters has been there's this blank window of time where nothing happened. Improvement stood still for a little while, and I think everybody's looking forward to a more calm version of NCAAs, and that's assuming we don't have some other thing pop up. And my gosh, we've all been through it, so hopefully let's be praying that nothing new pops up for sure.
Yeah. All right. So Australia changed their I guess their requirements, their qualification criteria for this upcoming World Championships. So it sounds like they might not be sending their best squad yet again. And then on top of that, I think World Championships the following year is going to be in November. So there's obviously some news about what's going on with World Championships. This year it's in Fukuoka in Japan. We're going to have our trials. When are our trials again, Coach? April,
yeah.
April. Okay.
Yep.
Sonny, how are you guys doing? You guys doing trials as well?
Yeah. There's British trials. There's also some pre-selected swimmers based on Olympic results. That's kind of been a theme since COVID started, just pre-selecting swimmers. But I think for Australia, this is great because there was a lot of discrepancies because there were some big names like Matt Wilson who didn't qualify with the elevated Australian times last summer, and they ended up giving them a wild card selection. And this year they've sort of taken a step back and said, FINA A cuts, you come top 2 at trials, you've got a FINA A cut, you're going. We're not making the times any harder. And then for Commonwealths, which they're saying is their priority, that's the one they really want to send everyone to. Then they're, they've got multiple selection meets with only the top qualifier at the World Trials going to the Commonwealth Games, and then them using the Mare Nostrum Series, the Sydney Open, and the World Championships to further qualify for spots for the Commonwealth Games. So I think it's a big step forward for Australia, and I don't think it's that big a deal if a few swimmers say we don't want to go to Worlds, because this year is going to be mad. It's ridiculous. Everything is this year, everything.
Yeah, good point. You gotta pick and choose, and it sounds like it just made me think when you were talking the whole entire time when we had Tim Hinchy on, and his main message during the podcast was we need to get everyone together and have a global swimming calendar, because we're just going to keep moving these little pieces around, which kind of leads into what the next World Championships is. And now they're moving them later to November. And I guess the reason is because in Qatar, it's really, really hot, and you won't be able to probably do the open water swimming. So you have to do it in November when the water cools down, the temperature cools down. So what does the ISL do, right? Because then you're in the middle of November, which was the playoffs this year. I know it's another year and a half off, but yeah, it's an ever-changing landscape of the global swimming calendar. So
yeah, it's kind of, a November Worlds is really strange for everyone because it really doesn't give you, it takes you out of any kind of flow of the season. And it's almost like the tail's wagging the dog right now. I mean, probably what they need to do is figure out if the cutter couldn't have the meet at the time that needed to be on for the benefit of the calendar of the athletes, they shouldn't get the meet. Then have somebody else host the meet. And unfortunately, that's not the way they went. And certainly, hopefully Tim is pressing FINA to sort of work on that calendar so that there is a better flow to it. It would be a shame for the athletes to lose out on opportunities that they can benefit from with the ISL, with the World Cups and things that allow them to further their professional efforts and also their developmental efforts of the athletes that are sort of coming through the programs. But I think this summer you're going to see the best swims coming out of Commonwealths, coming out of Europeans, coming out of the July and August meets rather than May, because it's going to fit a lot better into most people's calendars. The U.S. is the one that's going to sort of be caught holding the bag because there's not going to be any kind of sort of big meaningful championship meet at the end of the summer. It'll happen in May, and then a lot of athletes, unless they're in the ISL or have some individual motivation, might struggle to sort of keep pressing their training through the summer for just a nationals.
Yeah. If you're a college kid and you're looking to swim in that championship meet, it's in the middle of November. It's just weird. So we'll see what happens. Moving on, the Iron Lady, Katinka, spoke to some Hungarian media. A lot of people was thinking automatically, boom, she's done. It's over. It's an unbelievable career, but she's saying, nah, not done. Now she just has new goals, is what it sounds like. So she says right here on the bottom, I'm going to retire one day, but there's a lot less in front of me than there is behind me in swimming. I'm turning 33 this May, and I feel a little sad because I still enjoy swimming. It's not that she didn't want to win an Olympic medal. She went out there and she gave it her all. I just think you're going to have gone your fastest at some point. But now it sounds like her goal is to be the first to get 100 international medals, which is kind of mind-boggling even to say.
Oh, Brett's joining.
Uh-oh.
He did. Hang on a second. Wait.
I just unmuted you.
Oh, I was muted for a second. I'm here. I'm sorry. I apologize. I was on a phone call and I missed everybody. I could see you, I could see you in the background. How you doing, David?
I'm great. Yeah, thanks. The guys did a great job. And hey, Sonny, Tom Rushton's over here right now in Coronado with us. We were on the deck together yesterday.
Oh, cool.
So he's got a couple of the Energy Standard folks over here. So it was a lot of fun. We went out and had a beer after practice, and what a great swimming mind he is. And it's fun to hear about the Energy Standard team from the inside, sort of some of the inside stories he shared with me. So I know you've been a big part of that, Sonny. So congrats on that team and that. Speaking of team culture, like I was talking about Berkeley, I think the Energy Standard crew has a really good culture, a lot because the athletes have been with Energy Standard for a long time.
Yeah. No, I was on the phone to Tom just before this started, and he said you and him, the BES stadium was like, I was saying some stuff, and I was like, I hope I don't give too much of our secrets away to the LA Cup. But no, it sounds really cool, and he's with obviously Javi's on deck with you guys as well. So you've got a DC Trident coach, and he's they're all mingling together and getting some practices done. Craig or Vicky and some of Javi's guys. So it sounds like really good fun. And the pool looks amazing. I know we've talked about that before, David. So yeah.
Did you guys talk about David going back to the NCAA?
Yep.
How awesome! How awesome is that, man? He's going back to Cal with Dave Duran. The boys are back on deck together and do some crazy stuff. One of the best teams in the country. Oh man, I couldn't be more excited. This is awesome.
Well, Brett, our favorite time of the year for guys like you and me is this time of the year when you get ready for these championship meets and you're, the athletes' eyes are on fire, getting ready to see what they can do. And I love this time of the year. And I feel like that's some of the better coaching happens right at the end, sometimes to raise them up, sometimes to calm them down and put them in a more calm state. So
well, one of the
feel like
questions I asked Eric Chanteau on this podcast, I said, what made David Marsh so great? And he said it was taper time. He said David could work miracles in taper that no other coach could work. And so for you to come in with the Cal guys right before their conference and then into NCAAs, man, I feel like there's going to be some magic, mate. I'm so excited about this. Now, Dave Durden has done an incredible job over many years getting those guys ready. So it's not like he needs your help, but the two of you together, I mean, this is kind of scary, exciting. So those guys should be pumped up about this. This is awesome.
Yeah, Texas.
Well, yeah, Chase has done a great job, and I think he's, with him stepping off, things. I've been texting with him the last couple of days, and he says things are going really well right now. So he's leaving it in really good shape with Dave, and so I think the transition will be very easy. In fact, they're doing a competition down at UC San Diego that'll be sort of the transition point where I'll sort of step in and start getting to know the guys. Brett, I don't know, I won't know these swimmers. I was telling him earlier that I really haven't followed recruits or college swimming that much. I've really turned all my attention to the professional swimming.
Right.
So I've had to go back and look at these youngsters. But hey, Gabriel Jetta's looks like he's becoming one of their top freshmen. And of course, Scott and Christy swam with me at Auburn and back in the day. And so I'm thrilled to get to work with Gabriel a little bit. He used to he used to come out for camps, like Shackle's kids have come out for camps with me in San Diego. So I watched him, sort of come up as a youngster, and now he's popping as a freshman. And
Cal's got
looks
a
like
team.
There's a few guys. Yeah, they got a really good team, and they haven't really, they haven't hit it yet, which is really nice. That they, he hasn't shaved them or anything yet, so they should have a nice response as the final part of the year comes down.
Well, if anybody knows how to take down Eddie, it's you and Dave Durden combined. So you've done it before, and a lot of people haven't figured it out. You're one of those that has. So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. It'll be
well,
fun
Eddie's done such an amazing job. I mean, over his career, my gosh, I mean, he's on autopilot the way he runs that team now, and the results he's getting year in and year out. And everybody says, "Oh, he's too old." He said, "Well, you know what?" And then he kicks ass. So it's. I think
he's got a team. He's got himself a team. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Those boys can swim, but the Cal guys are right there, and it's going to be another epic battle. So I'm excited about that. Where are we up to in the list?
So we just kind of talked about Katinka, that she's not really retiring. Her goal is to get her 100th medal. And then we were about to get into the mile. Your favorite event, right?
The mile for what? What's it on here for? What are we talking about the mile?
Oh, it's about flip turns.
Flip turns.
No, this is a really, you gotta go read this article.
What are we doing?
It's written by these, not a Czech guy, some guy from the Austrian Swimming Federation and Dennis Peter Born from the Swiss Swimming Federation. Basically, like a year ago, they had done another study that said if someone just does better turns in the mile, it's going to bring their world record down by like a lot. And then boom.
Shit. We needed a study on that. David, we needed a study on that one.
50 freestyler. This guy doesn't even do flip turns.
There are some really poor turns going on in the distance events. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
At the world level. Yes. And that is a place to, it should be no news, because it's not about getting faster. It's also about saving energy. And I think right now, a lot of the guys that are doing turns at those distance events, until the last 200 or so, they're turning like they're doing, they're saving energy. They're not turning to gain the advantage. But, the turns, it's no new secret that turns are a place where strategically you can make huge gains and make big moves. And if you can do it, why not? If you can swim a 1500 with a driving 6-beat kick, which most people never thought was possible, why can't you do all your turns, really effectively? And I'm sure in NCAAs, you'll see people, especially these young collegiate people, turning aggressively the whole race.
Yeah, look at Polterini. You improve that guy's turns, and it's scary what he could do. But you got the Florida boys. I mean, the Florida boys are good, and maybe it's a situation where those guys are going to figure out, and and that mile's going to drop like crazy. But I didn't need a study to tell me that the milers don't do great turns.
Yeah, well, Florian, he beat everyone by over 5 seconds just on the turns. That's how he did it, and that's it. They break down not only the velocity off the walls, but the distance off the walls. Because I mean, if you watch Roman Chuck, he's one of the best in terms of a distance swimmer getting off the wall, but it's not very fast. So I thought it was a great article, and these guys from the Czech and the Austrian Swimming Federation, the Swiss Federation, they're all doing these super high technical analysis for all sorts of different things. And I thought it was really interesting. You can go check it out. It's on Swimming World's website.
Germany does a great job with sports science. I mean, I guarantee you they've measured all that for him, and they the amount when Mariusz and Jacob went back this summer with Javi to their German training center. Javi's mind was blown with the amount of cameras and technology. There's nothing like that in the United States. Not one place is remotely like this. And they said, "Oh yeah, there's another place in Germany. It's just like this in another facility." Like what? And in Eindhoven, I stayed around and did the start breakdown that they have in the warm up pool in Eindhoven. Incredible the details you get out. No wonder Renomi has the best start in the world on the women's side. It's because there's no accident. She has it down to a 1 degree angle of how she enters, and if she hits it 1 degree different, there's a measurable time difference in her breakout speed and time and distance. So it's down to that scientific. And again, we in the States aren't that familiar with high level sports science when it comes to swimming. It's generally at least historically been Russell Mark and his GoPro that we've really relied on, and so I think it's something
like Sonny. So Sonny and his GoPro.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, Tom had his GoPro out yesterday, or some version of a GoPro. So it's one of these things that I think there's going to be more and more measuring, just like all technology is improving because of the access to fast data and being able to turn it around quickly, and the access to high resolution cameras that can pick up the most specific detail. So it's a really golden time for people that can understand technology and then put it into practical use and explain it to an athlete and sell an athlete on the idea. You'll help them get a lot faster.
Yeah. All right, posture, line, and balance. What's that one?
This was just a little ode to our one of the best, Bill Boomer. Bill Boomer just passed away, and I had a chance to go to Stanford when I was a young coach, like Sonny's age, to go do the camps for a whole summer, and that's what was just buried into my brain. Mike Murray was in that same camp with me, and we always talk about posture, line, and balance, posture, line, balance, posture, line, balance, because that's what Bill Boomer really left at Stanford, that just got pushed on everybody. So I just thought, if we got to make sure that we had talked for so long about, we got to go get Bill. We got to go get Bill.
We did.
And we did it again, man. Like, we feel the same way again. Like when Gennady passed away, it was like, we just missed an opportunity to go and record one of the best minds ever that did so much for the sport. And it just sucks that we missed out on that. That's like the reason we started this podcast, was to try to get these things and for swimming history and for the knowledge, and to pass it down. And we missed that opportunity. Yeah.
David, you got any boomerisms?
Well, I got Boomer in my coaching, rooted in my coaching philosophy. There's no question. And Richard Quick was the one that brought him out to Stanford. And before that, he was this kind of crazy guy in Buffalo, most people thought. And then Richard brought him in, and all of a sudden he started working with, Jenny Thompson and Dara Torres. And, I saw Jenny Thompson and Dara Torres' stroke technique change based on a lot of this kind of work. And the one thing about Bill was that he wasn't afraid to take the time to slow down, figure out how to maximize efficiencies and positioning in the water, and then add speed. So I would always call Bill, usually in about this time of the year, about when February is coming, when I was trying to get the Auburn team ready, and I'd say, Bill, remind me of a few things that I didn't remember, and he would remind me, do a little bit of overrating, with your tempo work, because your nervous system needs to get confused a little bit this time of the year. And he would, and we would, he said, what an amazing guy. I think he was one of the big parts of one was responsible of our sport transitioning from a mostly a volume based, who trains the longest and hardest wins, and to a philosophy of doing it intelligently and have a lot of different ways to make improvements. So he had a profound impact on me, and so I salute him and wish him Godspeed, and wish him well for forever, and thank him forever.
Awesome. Yeah. He was a good man. I had a lot of time with him myself. And yeah, incredible coach, fantastic man, and he'll be missed. So yeah, I'm glad we could touch on that today.
This week on the pod, who did we have? Oh, we had Michael Andrew. And then we switched the live. So yesterday we put out Max McHugh, who's the defending champion in 100 and 200 breaststroke for NCAAs. And you guys got to talk a little bit about breaststroke and lifting and things like that. So if you didn't listen to it, it's a little short, but check out.
And him getting shot. He got shot.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He got shot. He got shot.
I texted my twin brother because my twin brother also got shot in college. He was a diver. It was a walk-on diver at Old Dominion, and he also got shot in the leg. And I said, like, hey, man, this guy got shot. And he described it as wet. Would you describe it as that? And he was like, yep, 100%. Just felt wet.
Yeah, that's what I said. I asked him. I said, did you feel it? What did it feel like? He said, wet. So, and then he said he didn't even know he got shot. He was just walking kind of, and he just felt wetness in his knee, and he got shot. He got shot in the knee. I'm like, oh my God. So it kind of, I guess it's a shock thing, but and then the blood. But yeah, but I mean, for me, it's a cool factor. I told him on the podcast, David, you're in San Diego, you get bitten by a shark, you're telling everybody, like
right.
You grow up in Australia, you get bit by a shark. That's the cool thing. You get shot in America, I mean, you got street cred forever, I would think.
Yeah.
I'm watching Yellowstone and those kind of shows now, so everybody gets shot. So I'm so oblivious to people getting shot. The fact that he got shot for real is definitely a story. My biggest question is he coming out to the ISL this year? Because I desperately need a male breaststroker.
Dude, I'm telling you, he's coming. Sonny, close your ears. He's coming out to the ISL. This kid,
they have a good breaststroker. They don't need a breaststroker.
He wants in, yeah. He wants in for sure. Sonny, it's like getting shanked in England, right? You guys get shanked.
Machetes, yeah.
You ever been shanked?
I hope to never be shanked, shot, or bitten by a shark.
All the above.
Yeah.
Who else is coming on? Who else is in the hopper? Who's next week?
We have our Scottish friend. Our Scottish friend.
Stephen Tigg?
No, his athlete. Duncan
Scott.
Scott. I told you I mix up their names because they've all got first and last names. Duncan and Scott, James Guy. I mean, they got last names. Tom Dean. I can't remember all these guys because they've all got last names. Duncan Scott. I had an epic.
The whole relay team, the whole Olympic champion 4x2 team, and the reserve Callum Jarvis are all first names. Matt Richards, Tom Dean, Duncan Scott, James Guy, Callum Jarvis. The five of them.
Five of them. They all have. What's going on over there? David, I had him on. He was fantastic. He was really good. I really pressed him on a couple of issues, challenged him, as you know I like to do. But and he appreciated it. He's like, Brett, I've never really been pressed like that in terms of having to think about those things. But I challenged him in terms of his belief system of himself, because I think Duncan Scott is a Michael Phelps. I really do. It's an elite level swimmer who can swim everything, every stroke, every distance. They're very, very rare. There's the Lochtys, there's the Phelpses, there's the Duncan Scotts. But he doesn't see himself that way yet. I don't think. This was my opinion, and I kind of pressed him on it. I wanted him to at least have this belief of himself that he's top 2 swimmer in the world in terms of swimmer. You know, you've got Caleb Dressel who can kind of do it all as well, but Duncan Scott can do everything. And I don't think he's kind of identifying himself like that enough. And we kind of go into detail on that on the podcast. I mean, it's really good. I liked it. He was great. You know, maybe he hates me now, but I think he respects me for it. It was good.
He certainly seems like a humble spirit, and I think that's probably part of it. Is just, you know, he seems to swim for the team and swim for the greater cause. And just like with that 46-1 out of nowhere in the 400, on the relay, it was at Guangzhou. He threw in a 46-1. It's like, what?
Yeah.
And you know, it's in a team setting. You know, it's like in the old Auburn days when like Shaka would throw in these crazy splits. Like, where's that in the individual event? Come on.
Yeah. It's kind of frustrating because they can pull it out, and you know they got it. I mean, you know a little bit about Duncan, Sonny. I mean, you get that impression too. He's very much a team guy, eh?
Yeah, he's 143.4 on the 4x2 as well, and I think like he's ridiculous. Like he's ridiculous, and he was doing London Raw's breaststroke legs, and I mean, Dave, you probably saw him in the ISL final after I think the 400 on day one. He looked like he was about to just die. Like I was like, "You're right," and he was like, "No, I'm not." And like he gets up and had 4 more the next day. He's committed and he's unreal. He's unreal.
Yeah.
Got a little.
He just takes it on a challenge. Oh, there you go.
There we go. Yep.
So one of the things about him that I noticed too was that he the cause, like there was one event he didn't win, but he did the scenario with the jackpot that caused him to get the maximum points, and he knew it immediately. That's exactly he didn't care that it wasn't a big deal. He was sitting on the lane line as a second place finisher, and I'm over there going, "Why the hell's he on the lane line? You got second." But he knew what he was trying to do. He was trying to score points for his team, and he outpointed everybody. So yeah, he really won that event. That's one of the fun things about the ISL is these different narratives that aren't necessarily traditional of did you win? No, the question is did you score the most points, because that's ultimately taking care of your team, which you know, historically I would say you know, Europeans haven't understood that at all. It's always been about, you know, themselves. So the ISL's, you know, changed a lot of that thinking, and I think Great Britain swimming too has just it's incredible that sort of the culture they're developing, and certainly Adam Peaty's sort of the centerpiece of that confidence and swagger they seem to have right now. But you know, Duncan's should be the next guy. When you look at his technique and his 4 strokes, they're all strokes are very solid. He has, you know, but what people don't see is, you know, after the last ISL match, after the finals, you know, the whole pool is empty, and he's in there swimming probably 1,500. And the important thing was he wasn't just doing 1,500. He was doing it sort of all brick style or TIG style, where at the end of the session he was swimming 1,500 with about 8 strokes per lap. So he was just swimming long, slow. It looked like Popov.
We talk about
back
that
in the day.
We talk about that. We break that down. We also break down how is he or anyone else going to break this world record in the 200 free long course. We talk about that. He's got an idea and a plan, and so that's interesting. He also talks about the fact of he eats cereal. He eats chocolate cereal in the morning before he gets out of bed. So that was an interesting fact. But no, he's a good kid, and you know. So he tells me where the best Scotch whiskey in Scotland is too. He names it, and he tells me where to get it. So that could be on the list of things to do, bucket list things. Go visit the best Scotch whiskey in Scotland. But anyway,
this thing right here has a lot of good Scotch whiskey in it. My wife's taken up since Kristen since the pandemic is suddenly like Scotch, so we've been exploring a little bit of different ones.
Yeah. Well, listen, last thing here, guys, we're all on this new app called Any Question, and it's been kind of fun to be part of it. It's cool. My experience with it is just you know, it's a personal way that we can answer questions directly. You know, we've all been on Instagram, and it seems very kind of informal, where this seems like a lot more formal, where you're talking directly to people. It's an exciting new app. Sonny's on it. David's on it. We're all answering questions on there. I recommend anyone that's listening to this, download the app, get on it, and shoot questions at us, because we'll record it directly to you and answer directly to you. So it does feel a lot more personal. Sonny, what's your experience been with it so far?
I think it's really cool. I think there's like two sort of sides of it. There's one side that you can almost like ask someone like Caleb Dressel something quite insignificant, like what's the fastest you ever kicked 100 meters, and just something fun like that. But then you can also say something quite loaded and serious, like, Brett, you know, what do you think I should be doing to be faster at 50 freestyle, and let you unload.
Right.
You know, like you can ask something really technical and in detail, or you can ask something pretty fun and casual, like, hey, what movie do you like, David? You know, and you answer it. Like, everyone's answering real quick. And there's some big names on it already. It's for a new app.
Yeah,
I'm liking it. It seems fun.
Yeah, David, how you feeling?
Really good, actually. I've listened to a couple of your answers, and I was reminded of that 25 back end speed 50, and honestly, I'll probably throw that in because of that listening to that app, and then was listening to Bruno this morning and some of the ways he was answering, you know, how to help these sprinters. One of the things I think is really important for the athletes, when they respond, they're going to respond in inspirational ways. And I think we coaches will answer more from a knowledge base. You know, in my experiences, this is what happened. I answered a couple questions yesterday, and one of them I utilized, Mark Gangloff from UNC. You know, he went a 7-year window where he didn't improve in the 200 breaststroke, and then he dropped time. So yes, plateaus are a real thing in our sport. That was the question, and even some of the greatest swimmers in the history have gone through the long plateaus. So I think the chance to personalize it is really good, and it seems like also a place to offer a little bit of inspiration.
Yeah, a bit of fun. So hopefully we can expand it and grow it. There's a bunch of sports on the triathlon. The best triathletes in the world. I'm learning so much about triathlon just listening to them. Jan Frodeno, I mean, he's a freak and he's great. Learn a lot from him. And then mountain bikes on there. They're about to bring in track and field. So all the best track and field athletes in the world are coming on. So yeah, as Sonny said, all the best swimmers and a lot of the best coaches. James Gibson just joined yesterday, so he's on there. So check it out. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. I'm excited about it. So that's my little plug for that.
Cool. Anything else? Any odds and ends? Anything we forgot? Anything you guys want to plug or talk about last second?
In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to do an interview with the world record holder in the men's 50 butterfly. That's a little hint. Okay. A little hint. So I got to get off and get ready for that. That's next. Right. David, good luck. When are you moving up to Cal to do that?
Sometime early February. So it'll be, they're coming down for a meet at UC San Diego. And then after that, I'll go up there, and Kristen and I will, be up there together, and she'll get to relive her Cal days. We're gonna pack our e-bikes, and but I will miss the surfing down in San Diego. I don't think it's quite as good up in Northern California, but I'll have to deal with that for a little while.
Yeah. Sonny, how's your Patreon coming along?
Slowly but surely. I've got I live in Ben's house share or whatever, and Ben Proud that is, and yesterday he's like, yeah, I see you trying to do some giveaways or some stuff. I'm currently doing a prize draw to give away a Siobhan Howie Energy Standard cap, and he's like, I have a load of stuff you can give away. So in the coming month, I'm going to do weekly giveaways to my Patreons, which you two boys, Brett, Nate, have a chance to win. I've got GB Olympic kit, England Commonwealth kit, caps, suits, Commonwealth Games suits here.
Nice.
Yeah, I've got all sorts of cool stuff to give away. So yeah.
Sonny, I've got a signed Brett Hawke Speedo shark skin from 2000 that I'm going to send you, and I'm going to let you give that away on your Patreon. That's a pretty cool one. It's 22 years old now. Speedo shark skin. I mean, it felt like you were wearing a pair of jeans. Honestly, it was terrible.
It wasn't an X-Guide or a jacket. No,
no, it was shit. But that's the way it goes. Cool. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach, for coming. We'll see you guys next week.
All right, you bet. Good seeing you guys.
Look after Tom, David. Look after Tom.